take a ride. There's a party over there that ain't no job. It's live, it's all the way live. Don't even have to walk, don't even have to drive. Just slide, slippity slide. Just forget about the troubles in your 9 to 5 and just sail on. That's what you do, just sail on. Come along and ride on a fantastic voyage. I'm the captain of this vessel. We wanna take you on a cruise all around the land. Music is at hand. We wanna play it for you. We just want you to feel nothing but pleasure. Musical pleasure. Yeah. Music is very real. Really real. Truly a treasure. Musical treasure. Come along, pack the bags, get on up and jam on. Come on and ride on the funky horn.
Hello everyone! Welcome to Wild Funktasy, the only podcast that corrupts the youth. I am your host, Joseph Stalin, and I will obliterate you. As always with me, my co-host, Sarat.
Yeah, hi, we're here today and we're talking about Dice Funk.
We're doing something different for a change. August and kind of like late July are slow months, like not much is happening. So we'll probably have more stuff to talk about next time. But for now we decided to mostly make an episode mostly focused on Dice Funk stuff. But before that, I wanted to talk about something really funny that I think is gonna be interesting. So, you may remember that, like in our first episode, I briefly talked about the new Wolfenstein game, and now it's all coming back because, to my surprise and to everybody else's surprise, I am going to be in that game. I am making an appearance in Wolfenstein: The New Colossus.
Like a Johnny cameo?
Yeah, almost. And
cool.
I didn't know about it at all. Here's the thing. Here's what I mean by that. Recently, the people who are making it, they announced the first DLCs for this game. The game hasn't come out yet, but they're already like announcing DLCs in advance, which are going to introduce us to a bunch of new characters. And one of them is the protagonist of the first episode. The first episode is going to be called The Adventures of Gunslinger Joe. And I will just read you the description of this episode. A former quarterback named Joseph Stalin goes through Chicago and eventually into space. He'll kill Nazis along the way. That's really funny. I think... I will drop the act now. Like, obviously, it's kind of like an obvious play on words, like the name Joseph Stalin.
Yeah.
But I had this name for a really long time, for almost a year now, so, like, if somebody ever asks me, like, I did it first. They're copying me. And I wanted, like, to maybe, like, explain the origins of my name, if you don't mind, quickly. Like how did I become Joseph Stalin? Before that, I kind of like constantly changed my names online on Twitter. The name came from a class we had in a school about like fair use and the like copyright in art, like in media. And at one of those classes, we had a fun task where we had to. We were given a certain like picture and we had to like use one element of this picture and kind of like invent something cool with it. I don't remember like the specifics, but basically me and my friend we got a picture of a horse, and after we thought for a while, we invented a new ideology called horsemenism, which is like a radical socialism that also fights for the rights of animals in the entire world. and it has like a base on the dark side of the moon. And the leader of this horsemanist clan is Joseph Stallion, a horse with a huge mustache. My teacher basically is like, he had trouble remembering names, so he said that he's going to remember me always as Joseph Stallion now. And I was like, you know what? That's a good like Twitter handler for me. I'm fine with that. Yeah, and that's it. That's the story of my name. I'm in Wolfenstein. Yay! Also, I'm apparently I'm going to be black in it, but it's fine. I'm fine with being blackwashed.
Me.
Yeah. Anything you want to talk before we jump into Dice Funk or not?
Yeah, I've got something real infuriating that happened to me
Oh.
a couple of weeks ago.
Oh.
I mentioned it to you, and I mentioned it to maybe someone else. But yeah, I was watching a movie, and I usually get my movies at like the library because I'm not paying money for them. Screw that. The library is cheap, and it's like no money. It's nearby, and yeah, do that. And I picked up a movie. And like a couple of movies, and I brought them home as I usually do to watch them. And so that one night I finished Swiss Army Man and was going to watch The Last House on the Left. And I started it and watched it for like a couple of minutes. It opened up with like a car crash and the guy was choked on a seatbelt. And that was gruesome, I guess. And I realized that it turned out that the freaking movie was a freaking remake and not the real one. It was so infuriating realizing that I'd been duped. And it's like not the first time. Like in June, or I was going to watch prom night on the night of the school prom, and it turned out that was also a remake since it had Idris Elba in it, and he's not from the 80s. It was so annoying it was so frustrating to be misled like that. So, fuck horror remakes. That's really been agitating me. That's like the reason why I haven't seen Evil Dead, because they have the new one but not the old one. And I want to see them in order.
Okay. I wish Idris Elba was from the 80s. Like I wish he had a huge afro.
That would have been great.
I know it's like afro is not real 80s thing, but I don't care. Yeah, that sucks. Like that's a good argument actually, like, against remakes. Like they should at least like some kind of subtitle to themselves. Like
And the worst part about the Last House on the Left one was that it said there was Wes Craven, since it was, they like had a credit from the guy that did the Hills Have Eyes, but it was another remake. It was like he was not the director, and they were just screwing it with your intentions and understandings.
Yeah, like there's this trend of like making remakes that have the same titles as the original ones, and I always imagining hypothetical situation where like many years into the future, like something apocalyptic happens, and we will just find old stuff, and we will just not know which movie was the first one, because the titles are all the same.
They like hide the year that it came out, and they make it weird, so it's kind of hard to find if it's the year that the movie came. The movie year that's on the DVD is the year that the DVD was made, or if it's the year that the DVD came out. Because they've got like movies that are from the 60s, and they didn't have DVDs back then, but they're not from 2005. So it's infuriating.
So now Dice Funk.
Dice Funk.
We made like a thread on the forum, like asking people questions, and we got some pretty good ones. But before like we tackle those, I want to like go quickly through like a more regular ones. Like some of those were already asked on Shack Funk, which we both were guests on once. I'm not expecting everyone who listens to this to listen to also Shack Funk, so I figured we will answer those questions again.
That episode was horrible. Don't listen to mine. It's not
Come-
good.
No, it was good. Like
It was so bad.
that was the episode where I was like, I'm in good hands. Like
No.
I have a good co-host.
Thought you had good standards. I thought your standards were high for things.
My standards are super high, like, and it was a pretty good episode. Like, okay, maybe like everything like
yeah.
now, like feels worse because Johnny was on one of those, and that was a great episode. Shout out, like listen to Johnny Shack Funk special. That was really fun. But no, I still hold the opinion that your episode was pretty good, and mine was also pretty good.
Yours was good.
Yeah, so those questions are, first one is obvious. Favorite Dice Funk character? Like we can go like by season or like PC, NPC, doesn't matter. Like, so which ones are your favorite?
I loved Welch the Blue. That was my favorite character, who totally stole all of season 2 and was like awesome as like an antagonist that came out of nowhere or out of the blue. I liked how she talked with Vinny and her dynamic, and how it was just like such a good plan and ideas, and the reveal was so cool. How you knew something was up with Welch, but they had more pressing matters, and it came back to totally fuck their shit up. What about you? Who do you like the most?
I'm a bit confused. It's easy for me to say who is my favorite player character, but I never really thought like about who is my favorite non-player character. Right now, from like non-player characters, I really love Ishmael because I love giant dudes.
Alright.
Oh, and he was fun.
He's alright.
He was. I think he was really a lot of fun.
He's cool.
I like both villains in season 3. I like Lady Nim a lot. Yeah, but Welch is also up there. I actually love all the Black Hearts from season 2. But like I can't really pick a favorite from non-player characters right now. From like player characters, if I would go by seasons, I already said in Shack Funk that I have a Leon bias. But guess what? This bias is over now because my favorite player character in season 3 is not Bumbershoot anymore. It's the person who replaced him. It's Voltari. Yeah, before it, I loved in season 1, my favorite was still Ronaldo, and in season 2 it was Violet. Mostly after she turned human. But yeah, like Voltari is now my favorite in season 3. And okay, Voltari may be my favorite character, period, so far. Like I feel like she's the most interesting and complex in many ways.
Yeah,
Like I feel like I keep learning new stuff about her. Where everyone else is mostly more predictable. It's not like a criticism to everyone. It's like it's okay to be predictable, but this is just the kind of character I like a lot.
Yeah, I think I liked her especially more in like the more recent episodes, where she was conspiring with Carrie and stealing from the lilies. Should also mention that I also really liked Maximilian and thought he had a fun relation with Bumbershoot. It was fun to see him bicker.
I have a weird thing in my head, like with casting the characters, because I remember that Alice is. I think I remember that Alice is black. So and I imagined Maximilian also to be black, and I'm imagining him to look like Mahershala Ali.
Yeah, I know that guy. Yeah, that's a cool actor.
Oh yeah, I love him. He's great. He's a great actor. Okay, second question is probably the most obvious one. Whom do you ship? Like, what is your favorite ship? If you have any at all.
Who do you like?
I'm typically not a shipper, but So sometimes like it happens. I can't say like I really like spend a lot of time thinking about it. I just occasionally like have an idea. I know that in season 2 everyone loved the ship between Alias and Drop.
For some reason, Beyond Me, I didn't like it. I didn't like that season as much. We'll get to that all later. I have opinions about that.
It's the next question. Okay. No, I mean I started listening to it again, and I'm starting to see it, like their interactions, like how people could get an impression that there is something going on between the two. But yeah, in season 2, I actually was in a different camp. I was shipping Alias and Joan.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, because like she was his like teacher, and I feel like the moment where they had a little bird that he created with magic, that was like the moment where there clearly was something. And I don't know, maybe I guess I'm kind of biased in that regard. Like I'm probably like this ship a lot also for the reason that I generally like the relationships in fiction where a woman is more experienced. I know like Joan like has her other lover, but
Now she has Elias. Elias would be good for him.
I would say I would imagine like Alias is kind of like just a snack for her like before she gets to the real good stuff. Plus, it's kind of like I love the conversation where she explains like how Drow have matriarchy.
Yep.
In season 3, I have a ship that I really like. It's and I talked about it somewhere on the forum. It's Rowan and Penny.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think there is something to it. Like I kind of like their fun little relationship. Like last episode, like well before the last episode, like Roland got back his armor, and the episode that came out last week, Penny was asking like why like is he not wearing it? Like she's trying to figure out what's about his armor. And I'm like, for me, like my headcanon is that she's missing him. Like he came by every day, and now he doesn't have a reason to. And she's like, I need to get back at him.
Maybe she thinks he'd look good in it.
Plus, I just feel like it's a good pairing because like he is like a good character who is like into religion and stuff, and she's a fiend. And I feel like if they got together, like it would be like a cool story about him realizing that fiends are actually not all bad. I mean, he probably figured out that by now because he's in Ilium, but this would be like an extra step to him becoming like.
To growing like close to one personally. Yeah.
So that's it. That's my ships for now. Okay, I can actually say that I was shipping myself with Lyra, but that's the end. That's not I'm not in Dice Funk, so
Not yet.
this is not official. Not yet. Like yeah, someday.
Even in Wolfenstein, maybe he'll be in Dice Funk. And Austin will steal from Wolfenstein. Or maybe this week he's planning to have a character named Joseph Stallion and Wolfenstein is stealing from him.
Maybe. I feel like it would be too much of a pandering to me if he did it.
Yeah, I don't really think about it much, but I loved Ronaldo and Silas. They are so utterly perfect together. When Ronaldo first met him, that was like when I really got into the season, and I lived for the moments where they interacted. And it was so sad when they didn't end up together and Silas went off somewhere else. And yeah, in season 2, I liked Swift Justice and Violet. I thought they would be fun together, even though it ended horribly. And season 3, I really liked the idea of Theodora totally getting into that threesome with the Rocks. And that needs to happen.
Yeah, that needs to happen definitely. I told it to you, but like I would actually don't mind if she just gets Robin out of the way, out of the picture completely. If it's just her and Claudia. I kind of want like when did Lauren get the idea? Like what moment like she met? What was the moment when she met those characters and she decided like I'm gonna get that booty?
Like I kind of think it was like when they first met. Thought she said something sort of flirty, but I have to go back and listen.
Yeah, like but I'm wondering if if that kind of happened more by accident, and then she liked the idea so much. Because if season one she was so shy, or season two, like her character was more shy and not so romantically involved with other characters. Even though she still like got it on like with Gem and the holograms. That was a bad joke. I'm sorry.
But yeah, about like Robin, he doesn't really speak so much, so I kind of don't really think I would mind if he was out of the picture. I'd be totally cool with just Claudia and Dora getting it on just those two.
Yeah, like I wonder if there will be just a speed check that she like crit so hard that they are all, both Claudia like and Robin are into it now. She just solved at the snap of the fingers, like it was with Voltari and Carrie. I'm having trouble like remembering all these names. Okay, so next question. Next,
Yeah,
final
next
question.
question.
Favorite season. What is your favorite season? Like, pretty much everybody says season 2, but you said already that you have problems with it.
Yeah, I didn't really think too much of that one since I didn't really like it as much. I really think I just sort of latched on to Leon's character since I also sort of think that I have like a Leon bias in a way. And I didn't really think much of the other characters aside from, say, Swift Justice and Isaac and maybe a bunch of other, like Welch. I think that my favorite season was season 1 or 3. I think probably season 3 though.
I think like season 1 gets a bad rap. I heard several times that people say that like you can skip season 1 and jump into 2. Like 2 is where the good stuff.
Not at all.
Carcass Mignon, like she said on her podcast that is it her like or her like.
Which you should totally listen to. That's also a good podcast.
Like I think season 1 is a really good I like to compare it to Game of Thrones, like where yes, season 2 is where a lot of like cool stuff happened, but season 1 is still super good and mandatory viewing is really great. And I'm listening to it, like re-listening to it occasionally right now when I'm drawing. And there are so many good small moments, like it's more grounded and it's more involved with characters. Like there's just so much more like to all the conversations, more subtlety, where like it seems like really like the relationships are slowly changing rather than like how the entire like characters like change really fast once you like pass the speed check or something.
Yeah, but I think I'd have to re-listen to season 1 to get a better thought of it, since there were some parts that I wasn't too clear.
Yeah, it's
on.
way too long. Like, I would agree that that's a problem with it, and
Uh-huh.
I don't know really what happened there. Like, is it Johnny's fault or is it the player's fault? But it's basically like they were not prepared for this type of story at all. Like Austin streamlined a lot of the like D&D for later seasons, which was a really good decision.
Definitely.
But I also like I will tackle this subject a little bit later. So far, my favorite is still season 3. I adore it. I adore it like even more with each new episode. Like it keeps meeting my expectations, but then also like subverting them and surpassing them in certain places. It's so good. Great season. Like I'm worried. I don't know how I can even top this season in next seasons. Like I think this is the peak goodness, peak Dice Fun goodness for me. Okay, now we can move on to the questions that people asked us on
All right.
on this thread.
So the first question is, who's sexier, Gorfanax or Zavala? I'm of the opinion that Gorfanax is sexier, since that's like an actual thing that exists and not just in the mind, because I feel like Zavala would be totally manipulative and that's not cool.
That's weird. I have an opposite opinion. I think Zavala is sexy, and I actually don't even know why would anyone pick Gorfanax. Gorfanax doesn't have a character. Like Zavala has a character, a personality, like a style.
But Gorfanax could look however it wants. And
I'm pretty sure Zavala can do that as well.
but it doesn't even look like anything. It's just a voice.
But it can. Like you can wish for Zavala to like separate a part of itself into like a perfect lover. Like it can look anything for you.
But is that really even Zavala, or is it just some drone?
Well, technically, Gorfanax isn't Gorfanax too. Like they're bigger than that. They're celestial beings.
It's a part of Gorfanax, but I think that's still Gorfanax-y.
I don't know. I feel like there is just less character. Like Gorfanax is kind of like just a big moving dick. And I can see how some that can be in someone's taste, but I prefer personality. I want to like have a good conversation after and before sex, and I don't think Orphanax will provide me with that. Like I think Zavala is a good talker.
I guess we could also include Ganondorf, since that's sort of shaping up to be the next entity.
Oh, okay.
And,
If that's the question, I would pick Ganondorf.
oh, really?
Yeah. He's a bad boy. Like, he's so bad that other bad gods were like, "We are too bad for us, dude." We're probably going to see him soon. Like, he's in Ilium, apparently.
Yeah, that was like a cool twist. I liked that.
Yeah, and like all great twists, it was under your nose the entire time.
Okay, so the next question is the best plot twist or shocking moment.
Well, I already said that. Yeah, Ganondorf twist is so far probably my favorite answer. But I also liked. I feel I liked almost all twists in season 3. Like starting with like when they found out that the Blink Dog stole the sheath, or like when we found out about Garrick. Like all of those are great in my opinion. Like they're good twists, and like they're good because you could predict them in a way. Like you could see them coming, like, but you didn't because they're so well arranged. What about you?
Remember there was this episode in Lorelei that was like just a whole mythos episode with the tiefling Chance, and it was all about, that was like where they made the connection between Gorfanax and Jack, and how Jack slayed Gorfanax, and the connection with the Kuatoa and Mother and Zavala, and it all made sense, and that was good. Oh yeah, and like the other twist that really stands out is sort of when you realize that Garrick wasn't a wizard and he was Leon's old character idea, Abracabastard, of a fake wizard who can't do magic but acts like a wizard.
Oh, I didn't realize that at all.
It felt really cool to realize that.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. But we can like, I guess we can like remember that as another moment where Austin hates Leon. He killed his character before the character was even made. Well, before he made an appearance properly as a character, as a PC.
Yeah, so I guess that Leon's not going to be able to play as that character.
Or maybe like it will be the twist of the next season, like it's all a prequel to Ilium.
We still, the mask could escape and find someone else. There's like a chance of that. That Wolf would, when the barrier theoretically, inevitably, possibly comes down, Wolf could escape and go to Mykonos, and Jack's great-grandson would defeat Wolf in battle and take the mask and become the new Garrick the Great. And Leon would play that.
Yeah, he would wear the mask and he would be like, "Somebody stop me!" I love that movie.
You have an appendage sliced by the fang of Gorfnax, straining of its future. What do you offer up to his meaniness?
Yeah, that's a good question, but also an uncomfortable one, I guess. Do you want to go first?
I'm not really sure what exactly I'd want to give up. I like all my limbs whole and intact, if it's all the same with you. But if I had to choose, I'd say... I remember that I had this thought of if I had to get rid of, like, a limb, which one it would be, but I don't remember. I feel like it would be an arm. I give up my right arm since I'm a lefty. I don't need it. Legs sound really important. I like my legs. What do you do?
I was thinking about it for a long time, and my question or my answer will probably be shocking. But yeah, I think I would give my genitals.
Oh?
Here's the thing
Oh.
about me that you may have I mentioned it a few times, but you may not know it. I am an asexual, like, which means that I'm like generally not interested in sex. Like
Okay.
I never like had a romantic involvement with anyone in my entire life, and I'm pretty much fine with it. Like I'm not opposed to the idea itself. Like hey, ladies, if you wanna, but but like I'm comfortable with with being alone, and like I basically for the longest time like I basically realized for myself that if that's the way I will always be, I am actually fine with that. And yeah, decided that even though I like my genitals, I will probably, if like I have to make this hard choice, this is the part I can give up, because I don't like, I'm not intending to have a lot of sex, and I don't want children. Like even if I will change my mind about children, I will still totally be fine with adopting someone. I don't believe in the whole like keeping your bloodline thing. Like my
Okay.
legs, my arms especially. I need all of them for drawing and like for animation. Like all of them, I like those. I would be not able to live without. My genitals, those can go.
If you... I don't know how squeamish we're going to get or much you want to get, but if you were to do that, how do people pee without that?
Well, the hole is still there.
Oh, okay.
Like I don't know. Like, okay, I never thought about it, but I'm pretty sure there is a way. Like people were like people, a lot of people, like especially singers, like in ancient times, were castrated, like and they lived their lives
Okay.
normally.
That's
Oh, that would also make me Varys from Game of Thrones. I just realized that, so I would be super cool.
check or find out or want to find out. It's a question I'm happy living without knowing the answer. Anyway, next question. It is if...
You asked.
What?
You started asking about how people pee once they do it. Like I wasn't forcing you to think about it.
Okay, so next question is, what do you think caused the wall around Ilium and why was it erected? Erect.
That's a good way to phrase it right now. I don't know. Like they haven't revealed it in the season yet, so I don't know. That's a boring answer. Like I'm being a dick.
So we're just done with phrasing, right? That's not a thing anymore?
I had this idea earlier on one of the chats about Ganondorf, and I was thinking that it wasn't really about why it was erected, but it's about what the gods would use it for. So if Ganondorf is in Ilium, as people think that he may be, one idea that I had was that there's tons of really powerful people in Ilium, and like none of them follow Ganondorf except for Theodora. And so Ganondorf sent in its agent to try and convert people and gain influence and power among these super powerful, isolated individuals. And the end goal is to like conquer and dominate and control all of Ilium, since none of the other gods or anyone else would really have any ability to stop it, because it's a freaking god.
Well, if that's the case, he is sure taking his sweet time.
Like Theodora is also gaining and trying to recruit allies, so that could be an implicit order, and I feel like that sort of adds evidence to my idea.
I would say one thing. I hope the reason why the wall exists is nothing like obvious. It's nothing like that we know already. So I hope it's not. We know it's not Ladinium. I hope it's not what Warden's doing. Like, he's probably connected, but I hope it's not him. And I hope it's not like a literal purgatory for someone. Like, all of those seem like to me so obvious. Like, I actually hope that the reason the wall was created is not related to any of the main characters right now. Like, it's just a funny coincidence that they all happen to be there.
I feel like Zazriel said that it was neither divine nor fiendish in creation. So,
Well, yeah, so I'm probably right, at least for now.
the cop-out answer would be that it has something to do with Jack. Maybe.
Jumping up ahead, I want to say I'm not too fond of those attempts to make everything, like the attempts to like connect the previous seasons to the new ones. Like, I don't care about that. I'm not opposed, but like I don't care. Like, I wish that Dice Funk was like Final Fantasy, where it's new universe each time.
Oh, okay. I think it's kind of cool when they do that. Feels MCU-ish. There's continuity.
I feel like it's more DC EU-ish, where it's parallel universes rather than a whole. But Marvel also has those. Jesus Christ, comics are weird.
But it's like comic continuity, and that there's connections, man. That's the crap I like and eat up. Oh, and how will it come down? I still am of the opinion that they should try and dig under the Aurora, since it hasn't been proven to not work, and I think it's a valid choice.
Wait, but they already, like, when they went to space to get Azrael, they saw that it goes up way into space. So it's only logical to assume that it also goes down, penetrating the Earth.
But it hasn't been proven yet. I want to see.
Yeah, but
I wanna
it's
see
a
it.
safe assumption. I feel like it's such an obvious design flaw that someone would already find it and exploit it if that was true. Like, Wolf would find it because he digs stuff all the time.
Yeah, they should get Wolf to do it. Wolf and the giant purple worm.
Yeah, but he would already find it. Or, like, the Blink Dog would find it.
How? Yeah, the other part of the question is how, if it will come down, and how.
I
feel like-
don't know. The question is actually, do you think it will come down? Like,
Okay.
and I think,
Correct me, Mister. To be fair, yeah. But
well, you said it yourself. You're bad. You're bad at this, so you need me. You need me.
Don't be Zvala. Anyway, yeah, I feel like the way that Austin is really pushing this Count Danto stuff, there's going to be some sort of way that will fit into things, and Stella Rosa will either possibly go into the Ilium, or the Avant-Garde will find Stella Rosa and stop Count Danto. Maybe he'll be the big bad final boss at the end of the season. So I think there's something planned. There is like going to be a way.
It will be underwhelming, like, if it doesn't come down. So I'm pretty sure it has to happen. Like, it will be just anticlimactic. And it will actually be, like, an interesting point for all the characters who, like, are used to this life. Like, what will they do? I think, like, Ishmael will just stay wherever he is. Like, he'll be like, what else?
Yeah, it'd be pretty upsetting to like those that tried to get away from their other life to see it, that they didn't have anywhere else to go. But the other thought that I had is that maybe this stuff with Count Danto is trying to set up for season 4. And maybe it'll lead into that to better connect to it.
That would be interesting. I would actually love if those two seasons would be connected so heavily. Like, I would like a heavy connection. Like, to contradict my previous point, like, I don't like small continuity references, but I would like an actual solid connection.
It makes it matter. Yeah, I hope that Austin listens to it. I feel like that would be interesting. So you can get real feedback from real people that are really talking. Anyway, the next question is Bumbershoot going to get out of prison? This one, it ain't happening. Unfortunately. I feel like it's a clear, solid, outright no.
I think it has to, because
Really?
that's Voltari's quest, and I mean they will kill Warden, and I'm pretty sure that will result in like all of the prisoners being freed.
I don't think like the mirrors work like that. And unfortunately, out of character, I think Leon's made it pretty clear that he's not into going back.
That is true. That is true. What I'm thinking is gonna happen that she is going to free him, and like Austin will play as Bumbershoot for a while, and he will either just try doing it, or he will like on air, like when they are doing it live, he will just play as Bumbershoot, but then he will persuade Leon to just voice his like make a recordings just for this episode, and then Bumbershoot will be out of the picture. Like it will be. I'm trying to like. What would be a good? Okay, it will be kind of like a Mark Hamill cameo in Force Awakens, but with actual words. Something like that.
I don't see it happening.
I'm probably wrong with because all the issues, but I think it has to happen. I'm staying optimistic about it.
I actually kind of would be happier if Bumbershoot was just left in the mirror, since I like the team as it is, and I don't know, it's like a good current situation.
He doesn't have to come back. I think like he has like I think like the pirate will come down and he will go back to his lover Count Danto. Okay, headcanon, Count Danto definitely looks like Jemaine Clement from What We Do in the Shadows. It's canon.
I think he looks like Lucius Malfoy, since he has long hair and pale skin, and he has a painting that leads to a secret corridor. He's definitely Lucius Malfoy.
Okay. Next question?
This one is, if you were to talk to Zval at the end of season 2, what would you have done?
I already said that in like my big review of season 2, and I will say it again. I would kill that motherfucking bitch.
Yeah, I think
I have anarchist political views, and I think like the way they finished the season was kind of like a deal with a system of sorts. Like Zavala for me represents a system, like a big bad corrupt system, and they made a deal with the system, and I think you can't do it. Like you can't beat the system by making a deal with it. You have to beat it, even if like it will have terrible consequences, like all the Black Hearts dying and many other people are dying. Like it's worth to bring the world to the state where you can start from like the clean slate. So that's what I would do. Assuming I have a party like season 2 party, like we have a huge party and we will definitely win. If it's just me, like I would probably reconsider my options.
what would you do in that case?
Then it would not have a chance. Then I would probably make a deal similar to the one Winnie made.
I could ask for a longer life. I feel like that would be nice to not die, and I think death would be a scary thing, and I want that. And I just totally play into it.
But it's less scary if you know that your gods are real.
That's like the whole part of the thing of like D&D land, that gods are real.
Man, it would be cool if like to have a D&D season, kind of like American Gods, where it's the future, like all orcs and elves, like and humans, like build the cities. They have cars, they have internet, and all the gods are like hiding among us, like as pretending to be regular people.
I feel like we'd probably get something more futuristic-y in the next season because it hasn't really played into this.
I I voiced it, and I love this idea so much, and I hope Austin loves it, because holy crap, that's cool. I wanna write it. I wanna write it as a fan fiction. Okay, next question. You said you want a longer life? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
that's your
not
that's
live
your
in
answer.
Lorelei, since that seems like a terrible place to live. I don't want to be there at all. Which entity will be the secret abomination behind season 3? What do you think?
I have said it many times, and I will repeat it again. I hope season 3 completely like goes without a secret god like entity at all. Like I hope it's not the big bad. Like I feel like it kind of worked in season 1. Like I find the idea of such a villain a bit not interesting for me. Like it's basically a manifestation of evil, no matter how you write. Like, and I think it's always less interesting than a like well defined character who like has reasons to be the way they are, and you understand them. So I hope that we don't have a secret entity. Like it seems like Ganador may be it, but I hope that he doesn't become this in this season. I hope he's just a player in this game, not the big bad.
I kind of think that the big bad antagonists are shaping up to be, as I said, like Count Danto and Ganondorf, and I definitely hope they're not related or connected, because if they are, that would be totally out of whack and not make much sense. I think that I feel like it would the entity is, I don't know, I'm not sure what entity it could be. None of them seem to particularly fit. I guess I'd say kingship. If it's Guanador trying to take over Ilium, or maybe kingship is Lord Danto trying to take over Akamoros. I don't know. None of them really fit too well.
And I think like it would be too much of a change to suddenly switch like the location of the season when we spend so much time defining like Ilium to suddenly go to Akamoros in the last few episodes, because I feel like we're really close to the end. Like I think it will be over in the next 10 episodes or something.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So it seems to me more and more likely that Count Danto will be the menace for next season.
Maybe like Count Danto will conquer the land out beyond Akamoros and end up going into what is the areas surrounding Ilium, and they'll like Count Danto will go to them, and
Maybe like
that'll
he will
be it.
be. Maybe he will be kind of like Kefka in Final Fantasy VI, where he gets godlike powers and conquers the world. Next question.
Who's the best dressed Dice Funk character?
Yeah, I have kind of like a double answer to this. In my head canon, like Roland's armor, like the one he like gets from Penny recently, it doesn't look like your regular armor. It looks kind of like a robe, like an armor from Golden Army, Hellboy 2, the Golden Army, like Guillermo del Toro style like armor. And this is so sick looking that I hope, like, for me, if like Roland wears it, and he probably will eventually, this is the best dressed player character. But if he doesn't, then it's Dora.
Dora?
Yeah, sorry, like typical answer, but like Lauren made posts even like on Twitter about how Dora dresses up. Like she like dropped pictures of people and from fashion world, and yeah, like she looks dope.
I was thinking that, yeah, I've got like a cool idea of what I think Dora would look like with like a orange and red and purple fiery robe, and there would be an eye on the back, and I like that image. And I also think that Bumbershoot would be definitely the fanciest one with his fancy vampire suit, and he'd have the ruffles on his wrists, and it would be real nice. Who is your Dice Funk Who in Daisunk is your waifu or husbando? Last question.
Lyra, who is dead? I don't care. Like, I don't think that's a rule for husbandos and waifus. Lyra, I like big ladies, and she is angry, and she is like, she rackets people for money, for their stuff. So that's like my king.
That I'd totally be down for. I think that I would totally be in love with Silas because he's the best, and he's total legit husband material, and everyone is in love with. And I'd be in love with him and Ronaldo, and we'd be all together and happy, and live in the apocalypse after post Gorfanax.
And I think that's it. That's all the questions.
Yeah, we're out of those.
Yeah, we can still discuss stuff like
Okay, yeah.
I wanted to talk about the recent episode and how they completely destroyed Lady Nim. Like, that was, even knowing like that they basically were super prepared for this battle, it still was unexpected how easily she was defeated. Like, I expected at least somebody from the party to die or be close to death, but it didn't happen.
Well, Roland was injured like halfway by the demon totem.
But it's not like even cool right now, because last time he was savaged by a hydra nearly to death. So this is not new to him anymore. He's a fucking monster. Like, this moment was really like when I was like, holy shit. Skitch rolled like a good character. Like, boy, does he know how to use him. I mean, the one Valtari wasn't even in the battle, so it's like basically it was half of the party like took a part in this fight. Like, Dora was not doing anything except for like spraying the shark with water. That's, by the way, my favorite moment probably, because this was kind of like unexpected payoff to Zoe's wild magic that I was waiting for. Because she was suffering for this entire season with wild magic. Finally, in the climactic battle, wild magic is basically what won the fight in the end. Like, she won the fight because she is a wild card that can be predicted even by the crazy, like, space demon. Like, if she didn't have wild magic, it wouldn't go so well.
Yeah, I've got there's like lots of questions to be asked about Reginald the Shark and what will happen to him and how that will end, and what his fate will be, since I don't see anything too good in the future, like as is. I need to save the shark.
Yeah, I'm afraid they won't. I'm afraid the shark is doomed.
I think it would be definitely a totally unpopular decision if the shark was killed off. That wouldn't be cool.
Yeah, well, best dying words ever. Get this shark off me. I loved it. Like, I imagine like a tombstone for Lady Nim. She doesn't really need it because she just comes back to hell. Man, being a dead demon is so good. It seems like you never really die.
Yeah, you have to be a horrible person for that. I don't know. I don't think I'd be up for that.
I mean, Carrie seems fine. Penny seems fine. Like, it seems like only Lady Nim is a real asshole there. Like, I feel like... Okay, sorry, go ahead.
I think that's just Austin's characterizations of everyone's cool. And so, no matter who you are, they all sort of like act in a samey sort of way. They're just kind of cool, and there's kind of a lack of distinction between them, and I find it kind of hard. It doesn't really seem menacing in the same way sort of as like Zazriel, the archdemon, or like Welch, as I said before.
Okay, yeah. The thing that like we both talked about, but I feel like it's a good subject for the episode too. Is just like I mentioned how easily they defeated her, and this kind of like brings me to thinking about the fact that last two seasons were incredibly easy. Like, Season 1 was incredibly hard. Like, the party was just not fit for it at all.
They took forever to defeat those two monks at the school.
That's kind of more the thing, like, with Johnny's descriptions and his more concrete rules of D&D. Austin simplified a lot of it for later seasons, but he also explained that even though he simplified it, he also like made it so that the crits are more like that, do more damage for both ways. So like our in season 2, like, people died, but it still, by the end of it, it still felt like the party was super overpowered. Like, they were so prepared for everything. And now especially, like, I feel like they are so ready to just destroy completely both Warden Light and Lady Nim. Warden Light in particular, because I feel like not only they will come to destroy him, and Voltari already has like a spell for it, they have a support of Wolf with his purple worm and Alice with her dragon. Like, I feel like he doesn't have a chance. Like, they will just first turn, Warden Light gets squashed like a bug by those two, if they actually use them, which I think they have to.
Yeah, I feel like there should be some change to up the challenge and make it different. There's more tinkering to be done.
I wonder why it happens. Like, yes, Austin streamlined the rules, and also like we got more experienced players such as Laura and Skitch. Like, they are super experienced in D&D. So that might be part of the reason why they're so cool. But also, like, that's what I'm doing currently. Like, if you listen to season 1 and season 2 and 3 in comparison, season 1 has so many botches, like, and just mediocre rolls, where season 2 and 3 have so many crits. Do you remember the last time there was a botch in season 3?
Particularly, there's like, I think Roland botched something.
The only one I remember, and it wasn't like even really a botch, is when Chris rolled a 1 on Wild Magic table and became a dragon. And that was that was the only time someone in the last few episodes someone rolled a 1.
Really,
Everything else is like above 10, like usually like 20, 26. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's an issue where the scale is totally unbalanced, where 20 is the max and people have plus 5 or 9 or 10 or 30 modifiers.
I'm really looking forward to the next episode, because I just want to see how the world reacts to the fact that Avant-Garde just destroyed Lady Nim, one of like the two big powers in Ilium. Like, people will just step away from them right now, probably.
I was wondering about the next episode, which I think is recording. It's recording today since it's a Tuesday. That's cool. So I was wondering.
Like, oinky-dink.
Yeah. Anyway, since they did the mission, since this is like the mission episode, will they be leveling up next episode, or how is that going to work? Is there another mission?
I'm expecting them to go straight for Warden right now. For some reason, that's my theory. Like, maybe they will have like some downtime, but then like the end of the episode is just kind of like the moment, like if you saw It Follows, when like they all go to face the monster. Like, this happens in Dice Funk. That was a bad analogy. I should have gone for something more obvious, like, I don't know, Yojimbo. The thing I really loved a lot is the whole small story with Azrael, and actually like the entire arc about Garrick, because it actually tackled a really complicated subject, and it tackled it perfectly, in my opinion, especially for this format of a show. Like, it's basically the question of justice and like what is justice and how to like punish people for crimes, like and who has the authority to do that. Like, we have Garrick, who is a vigilante, who basically like he is of the opinion that like all crimes should be punished with death, basically. And we have Warren Light, who like has a softer approach, but he like locks everyone up for the smallest of crimes in his prison. And we have those two kind of like extremes. And what I loved especially that our characters actually explored this dilemma and found like something of a solution. When they went into that mirror prison, that was one of the best moments, because this is something I'm thinking a lot about, like how do we fight bad people in the world? How do we fight injustice and crime? And they go like to talk to a character who doesn't see himself as evil, doesn't see himself as like the wrong in the situation, and he doesn't because he's just like a different creature. Like he doesn't see the situation in the same way that we do. He wasn't taught like the value of life like we are, and the way they persuade him is not like by actually making him change his opinions, but instead they actually they teach him basic empathy. They make him see the situation from the memories of the one whom he killed. He doesn't learn that like, oh, all life is valuable now. He learns that like being killed sucks. Like he sees the situation from us, and he so sees that like he wouldn't like it if it was done to him. And he still like isn't completely like redeemed. He isn't completely fixed. But the fact that he has a sorrow and that he like has this moment of doubt, and it's enough to get him out of the prison, like it's enough to show the system that he can reform. That's brilliant for me. And that's kind of like what I think we kind of should do in real world. Like we shouldn't just like put people in prison and execute them and like be done with it. We should study them. We should find out why people do bad things, and we should teach like our kids and next generations the lessons of empathy and like the value of life and how like the value of community. Yeah, I loved it. Like that was kind of like the moment where for like another time like Dice Funk proves to be much more than just a funny show on the internet. Like it's actually deep, and I applaud Austin and all the players for creating this narrative.
Yeah, it was a cool, definitely uplifting scene. I'm kind of curious to see where he'll go, and what he'll end up doing, and how he'll live. And I really loved the scene where Theodora totally weirded him out with all of her awesomeness and talk of Ganador and war. And that was really funny how she did it to the degree that Austin slipped into like a Jamaican accent and the total disbelief. And that was very good.
That's really all I got. That's all my subjects for today.
What else do I have? I don't really get how people were like questioning Voltari being not evil when it's like all about the long run. And what she was doing like in this episode, it's not everything that she does has to be like evil. It's the goals and ideas and the end stuff. Man.
Well, yeah, like I feel like the way they are playing it up is that chaotic evil is not just like a GTA player who kills everything in his sight. Like it's more of a like not give a fuck about anything attitude, where you don't consider people's feelings and stuff, and like I'm more aggressive, but it's not actually like eat babies for breakfast every day.
It's more than just impulse, definitely. I think it's cool how Laura does like the awesome sort of thing of subverting it and showing a different side to things. Questions about like what people are thinking about what Theodora and the other characters that weren't fear blasted would fear. And I was thinking that for Theodora it would be to be alone or without friends, or to lose the aid or guide of Ganador and Ganador's evil spooky powers.
I think like I imagining. Oh, I have so many good ideas right now. I'm imagining like, have you seen Pirates of the Caribbean 3?
Maybe I think it might. I don't think I saw it, but I slept through it.
Yeah, there is one of my favorite scenes ever is in that movie where Jack Sparrow is in a hell of sorts, and it's not like a typical hell with flames and stuff. It's him on his ship in the middle of a desert. That yeah, he's completely alone, and I can imagine that yeah, Dora would be in this situation, but also in parts of the Caribbean, a bunch of crabs appear at certain point and like leave the ship, and I imagine like if it was Dora, the crabs would get up and eat her alive.
As
In fact, no,
revenge.
no, there would be
Oh.
many Dora. There would be many Doras, and crabs would breed them and eat them. Another option I see is that Dora's fear would be Claudia trying to kill her silently, like without any reason. Just she would be like stalker. She would be like without any emotion or reason. She would be going just for her.
Yeah. And the other one, the other like two characters, Veltari and Bumbershoot. I just feel like the cheap answer would be if Veltari would be afraid of losing Carrie, but why would she do that? And like that would play into the killing your gaze trope. I don't remember what it's called, but
Yeah, but bury your gaze.
bury your gaze. Yeah, that's like not that's like a cheap, lousy answer that they would say, but there's something better for than that.
She cares. I don't think she shouldn't cares so much, but that would be it for her.
So like maybe a smarter idea of what she's afraid of is losing people and being confronted about being a tiefling by like Warden Light or something.
The more I think about it, the more I feel like Bumbershoot and Voltari would actually have no fears. At least Bumbershoot, because he basically got the worst fate possible. Like I feel like being locked with Maximilian in Warden's like mirror prison, that would be the worst fear, and he took it like a champ. So I feel like he's basically fearless at this point. I don't know about Voltari, but like she has a tough life, so I can't imagine like her seeing anything that is worse
Yeah.
that what she took so far.
Like she went into a lost city that you can never escape from without like a second glance. It's pretty ballsy, and I don't know what she would be afraid of. Maybe she'd be like the brave person would be afraid of not being brave. My butt right now. I was also thinking about Lee Nim's head veins and how that changed over the season. Like when they're normally a bright, wicked blue that stands out from the dull, almost see-through skin that she has. And when she was really infuriated by Claire Elise screwing things up at the bar, that turned bright red. And when she died under the shark, it sort of faded from the purpley into like a gray. And then she was sucked into the sword.
I have an idea I wanted to share. I already like talked to you about it a bit, but I feel like it's interesting. Okay, I will get to it. I have an idea for a dice funk fiction, and I will be like, okay, let me basically like describe it, how the basic premise of it. The protagonist of it is probably Ronaldo. I'm imagining like a different canon where basically they stopped Gorfanax, and he kind of like went on his way adventuring, and eventually like the story starts kind of like with him being chased by some guards, like when he probably did something bad again. I would imagine like he seduced some noble prince, and like he did it right before his wedding, like his important wedding that he was supposed to like make an alliance between two big countries. Like he turned the guy gay right before, like, at the worst possible time. Yeah, but that's just backstory. So he like is on a run, like on a horse, like he being chased by guards, and he rides into like a super dangerous area that is like filled with scary monsters, where he eventually caught by local paladins, and there is like a camp filled with like different mercenaries and warriors, and near like the camp is like built nearby a huge castle. Like I call it like the Castle of Dreams. The thing about this castle is that it wasn't there before. Like it's kind of like a thing from like in from Dice Hong season 2 where it came from a different dimension, like one day out of nowhere, and all sorts of monsters are in there, and like all sorts of monsters are like now walking around this area, and like it's kind of like most people like who live there like ran away, but there is a rumor that the castle is filled with like unimaginable riches, like some treasure, and the treasure that is guarded by scary ghosts and monsters inside. And this camp is like filled with people who are trying to get into this castle. And once they kind of get Ronaldo, they basically like kind of like put him in this tough situation where they need a kind of like a guy like him. It's kind of like a Hobbit situation. They need a thief, and he's like kind of like a perfect candidate. And he's basically in the tough spot where they're like, okay, like you're either helping us, like or like we are like letting you go, and you will either be killed in the area by monsters or will be found by those gods that you're running away from. And he's like, okay, I guess like I'm fucked either way, so let's rob this castle. So they're like two teams, like two parties. There's gonna be like to reference Dice Funk, there is Team Small, and there's kind of like the party that Ronaldo will lead. It's kind of like less experienced party filled with like weirdos. Like, and this party is supposed to like kind of like make a quiet entrance into the castle and be like go in unspotted and open the gates for like the big like the other mercenaries. And the party, like I don't have like a full picture of it. Like I have like 3 other characters, and at least one of them will be another character that we all know and love. It will be Bumbershoot. I don't know if it's I think it's like Bumbershoot before like, or maybe like actually after Ilium if he gets out, where he's a bit more experienced than he was. Like I feel like when he fucked up in Ilium, that was kind of like a sign that Bumbershoot is still, as a vampire, he's young and inexperienced. So now he's tougher, but he's like is in even worse spot. Like he's captured by those paladins, and he has kind of like a Mad Max Fury Road, like metal mask on him, so that he doesn't bite anyone. And he's basically there, like also in the similar situation to Ronaldo, where he is either killed or he helps them get into this castle of dreams. Like, and Ronaldo kind of has to persuade him, but Bumbershoot to help them. But Bumbershoot is like so basically depressed at this point that he's constantly captured in those situations. Like he just wants to be alone. Like he just wants to like kill people and never get caught. But it isn't working out. And maybe he even still has Maximilian in him. And I imagine like there would be a climactic moment where they face like a sort of like a final boss, and it's like a big king ghost that has a soul sword. Like the sword that will basically like eat your soul if it touches you immediately. And he probably will hit Bumbershoot with it, and the twist will be that Bumbershoot doesn't die, but this sword eats Maximilian from him, rendering Bumbershoot finally free from that voice in his head. But I'm not sure. Like it depends on how Ilium turns out. Like if I want to go ahead with this plot point. So yeah, the other team is team Tall or Team Big. That will be like comprised of the really cool badass like characters who are going to storm the other side of the castle that is guarded by the most dangerous monsters. But if they succeed, they will basically get quicker to the treasure room. So it's kind of like it's a heist movie basically. It's a heist story in fantasy setting with a scary spooky castle. That's mostly it for now. That's all the idea I have. So what do you think? And like I'm asking like right at the same time you, Sarah, and like everyone who listens to it, like I want you to like write me down like if it sounds cool and maybe I should do something with it, because there are like days when I like this idea so much, like I can't stop thinking about it, and then there are days where I don't like it. Tell me,
Yeah, I think it would be
So, like-
interesting. But one thing that I did think of is that if Bumbershoot does get out and Leon is convinced to come back, he'd be like super underleveled in comparison to everyone else, since he is still at level 6, whereas the other people are up to 9, I think.
Well, that's like I said. If he comes back, I'm absolutely sure he won't be a player character. Like I'm pretty sure it will be just like, "Hey, I'm back," and like the song plays. Guess who's back? Okay, I don't know. Like, and then he like just runs off. Like I don't think he will be a big part, play a big part into it.
Yeah, sounds interesting. I'd definitely read the story if you wrote it. You got the thumbs up for me.
Yeah, thank you. Like it's kind of like story. I want to like just give you an impression. If like Dice Funk season 2 like is kind of like Wind Waker and season 3, I don't know, like Majora's Mask. I would say that this fanfic stylistically is kind of like Dice Funk meets Dark Souls. Like this, if you want to like get an idea for what the castle is and what the monsters are, it's kind of like the Dark Souls stuff, like where it's like along that civilization that was destroyed by something dark and sinister. So
Right.
that's it. Do we want to wrap up? Do we want
Yeah, it's a good show. We did a good one. We're out. So long, people. Listen to all of our episodes. Bye.